Hi, I'm called Bonnie. The Law 4 of 48 Laws of Power states that always say less than necessary. The judgment for this law is when you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and the less in control. Even if I'm saying something banal, it will seem original if you make it back open-ended and spin like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. The story Robert Greene used to back this point is in the 5th century BC, there was a Roman soldier called Nacius Marcius, also known as Coriolanus. He won so many battles for Rome. Few people in Rome knew him and considered him as a god-like. He barely spoke to the people of Rome, so the people of Rome thought that Coriolanus is a man full of wisdom and strength. As time goes on, he decided to enter politics and run for higher position. Therefore, it was expected of him to give a speech. He started the speech by showing all the scars he had accumulated for the past 17 years on the battlefield, followed by a lengthy speech of which less people paid attention to it. Because of the scars he had accumulated for the past 17 years, it moved the people of Rome, so his reign was settled. It was obvious that Coriolanus would win the election, but when the election arrived, Coriolanus went to the forum and gave a lengthy speech full of arrogance and foolishness. The news reached the people of Rome. Most of them came outside and voted against him. They made sure that Coriolanus will not win the election. He lost the election, went back to the battlefield with sadness and devastation. He was later banished from Rome for his harsh comments on Rome's economy and policies. So, what can we learn from this? The more you say, the less powerful you seem to others. A person who cannot control his words shows that he cannot control himself and unworthy of respect. The less you say, the more powerful you appear to others. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 28, it says, even fools are considered to be wise if they keep their mouth shut. They are considered to be intelligent. Therefore, if Coriolanus had kept his words shut, his foolish and arrogant words could have been prevented. The less you say, the less you risk of saying something foolish or arrogant. Again, if there is a board meeting, don't be in a rush to share your ideas. Wait for others to share their ideas. When you see that everyone has shared his or her ideas, then you do addition, subtraction, division of people's ideas. Then you add it to your own idea. Organize it well and put it in the fewer words. you appear more powerful in the room. This is what Simon Sinek, the author of Start With Why, had to say about speaking last in the meeting. This is the video for it.
You will be told your whole life that you need to learn to listen. I would say that you need to learn to be the last to speak. The skill to hold your opinions to yourself until everyone has spoken does two things. One, it gives everybody else the feeling that they have been heard. It gives everyone else the ability to feel that they have contributed. And two, you get the benefit of hearing what everybody else has to think before you render your opinion. The skill is really to keep your opinions to yourself. If you agree with somebody, don't nod yes. If you disagree with somebody, don't nod no. Simply sit there, take it all in, and the only thing you're allowed to do is ask questions so that you can understand what they mean and why they have the opinion that they have. You must understand from where they are speaking, not just what they are saying. And at the end, you will get your turn.
Moreover, the point, the more you say, the more you risk of saying something foolish or dangerous. This is the story Robert Greene used to back that point. In 1825 in Caesar, Nicholas I assumed the throne of Russia. His opponent rebels against him. The king arrested one of their leaders called Kondraty-Lele. The king sentenced him to death by hanging. The day of the hanging came. They put the rope on his neck and took off the gallon he was standing on. But fortunately, the rope broke. And during that time, that kind of event is considered heavenly war. But when Lele got up, the first word he said was, "You see, in Russia, they don't know how to do anything, not even a common rope." A messenger went to the king and announced the event to him. The king was so sad that Lele got favored by God. He signed the pardon letter, but before he handed it to the messenger, he asked, "Did Lele said anything after this miracle?" The messenger said what Lele said. The king torn off the pardon letter and said, "Let's prove him wrong." So they hung Lele again, and this time it worked. So what can we learn from this? Once your words are out, you cannot take it back. Put your words under control. Be particularly careful with sarcasm. The momentary satisfaction you gain by your biting words would be outweighed by the price you pay. There are things you should not say. For an instant, you know some particular thing is so personal to your partner, or it will break your partner's heart and soul. But out of anger, you bring those words out. Your partner might forgive you, but will never forget and will never trust you with a deep secret again. The reversal law of law 4 states that there are times when it is unwise to be silent. Silence can arouse suspicion and even insecurities, especially in your superiors. A vague or ambiguous comment can open you up to interpretation you had not bargained for. Silence and saying less than necessary must be practiced with caution, then and in the right situation. It is occasionally wiser to imitate the court jester who plays the fool but knows he is smarter than the king. He talks and entertains, and no one suspects that he is more than just a fool. Also, words can sometimes act as a kind of smoke screen for any deception you might practice. By bending your listeners' ears with talk, you can distract and memorize them. The more you talk, in fact, the less suspicion of you they become. The verbals are not perceived as sly and manipulative, but as helpless and unsophisticated. This is the reverse of the silent policy employed by the powerful. By talking more and making yourself appear weaker and less intelligent than your map, you can practice deception with greater ease. Let me explain. Silence or saying less than necessary cannot be practiced always. Sometimes voice out. Voicing out can sometimes be used as a mask to hide our real intention. The more you talk, the less suspicious you become. Talk more and be dramatic if you have something